Hey, it's David Perdue from MyNAMS.com and the Novice to Advanced Marketing System. And this is the final of our 5 days of NAMS12 previews with instructors, both past, current, and future instructors at the NAMS workshop. And so we have been tackling 3 big questions with all of these instructors, and they've been giving us outstanding answers. So the bar is high, people. The bar is high. So we've really been looking, and I told somebody yesterday that, not on, but afterwards, when I was writing an email about this whole thing to someone else, I told somebody that I am so impressed with the quality of answers, because it's not just the nitty-gritty answers that we've been getting about the how-tos and the what-tos and all that kind of stuff. It has really been answers of integrity, answers where people are really thoughtful about why they do things and how important it is to have relationships and all of that. So that right there is the thing that I think epitomizes the ideal of the NAMS workshop. So, that's the reason we have so many great instructors and so many great students. I mean, we attract those kind of students too, which is really awesome. So, welcome, and I'm going to go across the bottom down here and introduce the folks. We might be having some others. There's Captain Lou, outstanding. We might be having some others who are coming in as well. There's Brian. I'm going to introduce those who are here first. It was Ellen was here like 20 minutes ago. Congratulations, Ellen. You win the prize for the early bird.
A little obsessive compulsive.
That's good. I like that. And Kristen Eckstein, all the way to the right next to Captain Lou. So you want to, let's just say hello to Kristen. There you are.
Hello, everyone. This is me.
And back
Hi,
to
Kristen.
Ellen. There you are.
Hi there. Glad to be here.
Alicia Slattery. There you are.
Hi!
Yep. Gary Huff. Say hello to the crowd.
Hey, crowd. How you guys doing today?
And Gary, are we pushing your time today? You're going to be good with us for the entire time?
Yeah, I should be okay. I've got 3 crews here at the residence doing all kinds of things, so we'll be okay. But I might have a little interruption.
Okay, good. Thank you. And then we've got Captain Lou over here. Captain Lou was on. Were you on Monday with us or Tuesday? I can't remember.
It was Tuesday. It was Tuesday. But with so many guest experts tonight, David, I might have to be rebranded as the muted marketer.
Well, let me tell you, Captain Lou, that ain't going to happen, because I know you better than that. All right. Brian Anderson, welcome from Atlanta.
Hey, David. Welcome, everybody. Hi.
Glad you're here. Glad you're here. Okay, so let me just set the ground rules here. The first thing is we have 3 questions we're after, and we can take questions from the audience as well. I'd love to have the questions from the audience. The thing that we want to focus on is your experience. And the first question that we will ask is, have you ever been stuck, and how did you get unstuck? The second thing is, have you ever, what is your biggest problem in online business, and how did you overcome that problem? And the third is, what's your secret weapon for being successful online? We've gotten great answers, like I said earlier this week. And so I'm going to start with Ellen, since Ellen was in here first. Ellen?
Now I get punished for being on time, right?
That's right. That's right. Or you get out of the way. There you go. How about that?
All right.
So have you ever been stuck?
Oh, big time. Big time. David, I was stuck in a brand that was really problematic. My brand used to be Marketing Chi, and nobody could really spell the name or pronounce the name. They'd come up to me and they'd say, "Oh, you're that marketing QI lady," and I'd see their brows furrow, and I thought, "Oh no, oh no," and it was attracting also a type of customer to me that wasn't my ideal client. I had not to say anything about these folks, but I had a lot of energy healers and acupuncturists and, a lot of fine folks, but they were just not spending money with me. Plus, I was really, really tired of it. So the word marketing also really kind of pigeonholed me into doing only that, so I changed my brand. So the way I did that was, first of all, I co-founded a new venture with Denise Wakeman called The Future of Ink. It's a multi-author blog for online entrepreneurs. who want to add the power of digital content production to their businesses. And that was the first glimpse that I had of expanding beyond marketing chi. And then I launched Pink Coattails. And Pink Coattails means riding in on the success of other women entrepreneurs. And under that, now that I've got that new brand, David, I've been able to launch stuff that's so related but lets me spread out. So I've launched the Pink Coattails Entrepreneurial Women's Network. We've got, I've been doing that with a joint venture partner. We've got groups of 15. These are virtual networking groups. I have a year-long mastermind. And my target market of women entrepreneurs is really, really thrilled about the new brand. And so where I was stuck in a new brand, I was scared to change, but once I took the leap, it's the best thing I ever did.
Good. So I love that because, you know, I experienced the same thing with niche affiliate marketing system.
Yes, yes.
Novice to advanced marketing system. Luckily, we were able to keep the acronym for NAMS. But because people would come to me and say, well, I don't do affiliate marketing, so you're not right for me. Well, you know, we outgrew that like 5 years ago. So I understand that completely. Patty's asking if we would introduce each speaker and their business. Now, I'm going to let you guys do that, and you've done that already, Ellen, so I appreciate that. So when you're answering the question, just tell people what your business is and what your website is as well. Kristen, you're up.
Okay, oh boy, have I ever been stuck? A few times. I seem to get stuck on a regular basis, and thanks to my NAMS community, I'm able to get myself unstuck. But my major getting stuck in the past couple of years was a family tragedy. And people who experience life just happening and family tragedies just hitting you without any warning, they all of us have experienced that at least once in our lives, I believe. I know Felicia has. She's told her story at her keynote. And it's debilitating. It's something that could really paralyze me. And so my secret was I asked for help. I found my family, which some of you are here today. All of you are my family, but I've got other family that are even closer. And you're my true family. So I was able to reach out to people like me, you know, entrepreneurs working at home who get this whole lifestyle of, we made a big joke right before we came on the air that I'm wearing clothes today. Well, we work in our PJs often, and I put clothes on for you today.
Wait a second. Did we just say that this was a clothing optional hangout?
Wait, what?
Exactly.
Well, I don't know about the bottom.
Wait a minute.
Oh, Jeff Herring, sit down.
Sit down.
Thank you, Kristen. You just took this.
Oh.
I had to give some comic relief to that whole thing.
Woo!
It's getting a lot hotter here south of Atlanta all of a sudden.
I forget my original point with that. Thanks to my family, though, I was able, you know, my real family, you guys, my blood family versus my family that gets this whole stuck at home in this room with nobody else around for days on end. It's like it's Tuesday, and I realize I haven't left the house since, well, today's Friday. I haven't left the house since last Tuesday. I mean, that kind of lifestyle, having a support system in place is like the most important thing to me now because of I lost my business for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And thanks to my team, I had built a team of outsourcers. I had a business manager, an online business manager at the time, and some virtual assistants. Thanks to them, the business kept going while I cried my tears into a popcorn bowl and talked on the phone with my friends, you know, getting that support. So, I mean, those two biggest ways I got unstuck was I asked for help from my real family, who are you, and I also had a team of people thanks to all the events I've gone to over the years, including NAMS. NAMS is the biggest one I go to. And people that I've met at those places that I've hired, that I've been able to say, you know what, I can't do that today. You just go do it. I trust you. Take care of it. And thanks to that, I'm still here.
Okay, thanks, Kristen. Good answer. Felicia, you're up.
Hi, I am a speaker and a trainer by trade, and I am the author of 21 Ways to Make Money Speaking, published by Kristen Eckstein. Hello. Part of the 21 Ways series. My next book is called Kill the Elevator Speech, Stop Selling, Start Connecting, so you know how I feel about that. And have I ever been stuck? Are you kidding me? I get stuck about every other day. A lot. So some of you may know my story. I know a lot of my friends here know my story. I delivered a keynote 2 summers ago at NAMS, and at the time I had lung cancer and did not know it. I found out about 3 weeks later when I had surgery, and then had my NAMS family and my colleagues and my friends support me, pick me up, help me, prayed for me. I had prayer warriors. It was amazing. Jeff's nodding his head. He was one of my prayer warriors. Kristen was. So, you know, I had a pretty successful business at that time, but couldn't work for 3 months. And a speaker with lung cancer, you're never really sure if you're going to be able to fully come back, right? So I luckily was able to, through lots of prayers and my own personal miracle and some fantastic support and a little cardio, believe it or not. And so I started back again just a few months later, and what helped me be able to come back were the relationships that I created through the various different communities that I participated in, through my speaking, actually, through the NAMS community where a lot of my colleagues and friends are. And I became friends with people because of being at NAMS and going there and participating and all kinds of cool stuff. So have I been stuck? You betcha, in major ways. And I rely on the relationships that I've built to help kind of pull me out of any type of funk, whether it's a, you know, I don't feel like doing something now, or I'm having a big problem. Can you guys help?
Thanks. We're really glad that episode is over for you too. So
all better, totally healed, 100%. Yay!
Excellent. Yay. Very happy.
I got applause.
Talk about being stuck.
So stuck is all a relative term, right? So having the opportunity to be kind of stuck and solid in a particular job and group. So one thing that I did a couple NAMs ago is I emphasized it's time for me to stop being an SOB, and that's really the thing that's made me stuck the most. And not that I'm a bad guy, it's SOB in terms of shiny object buyer. Always looking for the next one. Yeah, I know.
I knew there was a good
up
one.
until then, everybody thought I really meant SOB.
No, I never thought of you as an SOB, actually, but now I do.
Yeah. But always buying the next thing, always you know, looking for the next thing that could work, as compared to implementing and starting the right thing and sticking through and going. So stuck on always looking for the next thing. So it's odd that I wasn't stuck in one place. I was stuck in this vicious SOB circle of constantly searching for that next thing that was going to make the difference, as compared to already having it right in front of me. It was a matter of doing it. And that was a huge lesson. And it's over these last couple of years especially, it really has been what's helped me grow my business, my clientele. Everything has been get off this little SOB bandwagon and actually doing the things instead of looking for the next great thing to buy.
Thank you, Gary. You want to tell people what your business is and what your website is?
Yeah, the main site to go and visit is overwhelmescapeartist.com, and that's what I am. I am the Overwhelm Escape Artist. And I work with companies, I work with businesses to be able to improve their operations, help them get unstuck from being overwhelmed with all the things they're doing, and being able to put operations, procedures, and processes in place, anything that is associated with doing more of what you do. And the simplest term is my role to help and coach clients is to be a multiplier. So it's not a matter of adding on some ideas and things for them. It's taking what they're doing and multiplying it many times over.
Good, thank you. Okay, Captain Lou, coming to you.
Wait a minute.
And no, keep that tape off. We want to hear from you this time.
I saw what you wrote on Facebook, Felicia.
I know. I was waiting for you to say something. You've been quiet a very long time. You're being very good, taking your turn.
I want to say hi, a shout out. I see some friends here. Brian Anderson, who comes on the Marketers Cruise with us every year. Jeff Herring, who I think missed last year, or were you with us this past year?
Yes, had flu.
Well, I decided to come down with the flu 2 days before. Well, I'll see you next year.
That's awesome. Well, you know, 1 year, I could barely run the event. I turned from Captain Lou to Captain Flu. Many years ago, before I met Mike Filsame, I was Captain Who, but now, at this point, you guys know me as the producer planner of the amazing annual Marketers Cruise. This year, we've got a big group from NAMS coming, so you see my lower third graphics, NAMScruise.com.
That's it.
I help entrepreneurs bring their audiences onto cruise ships, and we do something called special events at sea. So my main site is specialeventsatSea.com, and we're doing a lot of big, life-changing group cruise events around the world. And I've built a 7-figure business over the years through getting stuck and getting unstuck. Like I was last night. I was up till 5:30 in the morning because I got stuck at about 2 a.m. I'm still on page 45 of my new book called Just Add Water, and I'm stuck. So I get on the phone with a mentor of mine. We talked on Tuesday about having a mentor and a mastermind team. And so my mentor says, don't worry about the book, Lou. Let's start talking about your next 3-day boot camp in Las Vegas. And I said, oh, I'm totally terrified about that. I haven't done my own 3-day boot camp for the travel agent industry in 3 years. It's a tour. You know, I got to tell you, David, I really... You know, the cruises are a breeze for me. I really love doing the cruises. But doing these land events, dealing with the hotels, and dealing with the logistics, as you well know, that is a real bear. So my captain's hat off to you, David, for being able to do not 1 but 2 NAMS events a year. And I don't know how you don't get stuck in all of the processes involved with that. You shared on Tuesday, David, that in the morning, if you check email before you go for your morning run, that can screw up your entire day. Am I right?
That's right.
And so getting stuck. So I'm on the phone at 2 o'clock in the morning with my mentor and talking about doing a 3-day boot camp, which is terrifying. I think the big reveal here is you've got to be push past the uncomfortableness and the fear and just get things done, you know, do it anyway and make the plans and execute those plans. So after all of this, I go back on the computer, I defy my no computing after midnight rule, and I stay on the computer until 5:30 in the morning helping programmers in India develop some software that we're customizing for the travel agent industry. So I've had about 4 hours sleep, but I'm still excited, I'm passionate, I'm getting stuck, I'm getting unstuck. And one more tip, and that is, I don't know how many of you work from home and have all of these distractions like a spouse, a family, or the refrigerator, or people dropping by. I have just driven 1 hour from my home here to Captain Lou Subterranean World Headquarters so that I can be in this peaceful environment without distractions and give my 100% focus to what I'm doing at the moment, which is this Hangout. So if you're so fortunate enough to scale your business that you can, or either that maybe in the basement, build, I think, didn't Alex Mandossian once, years ago, build like a steel door or insulated his office so that even if someone was banging on the door to try to get to him, he wouldn't hear it. Do you remember that story, David?
I don't know that story.
Yeah. He had a soundproof room where he couldn't be distracted and he could get his work done. I don't know if he still has that, but anyway, so that's me rambling on 4 hours sleep and now.
Okay. Thank you. You can leave that on for a little while. We'll be fine, okay? All right, so Brian, you're up. Stuck? You ever been stuck?
I've been stuck, David. Quick background. I actually started internet marketing in 1994, and I was 24 years old. And
was there an internet in 1994?
Yeah, there was. I was a computer science guy. I got a computer science degree the year before the graphical internet. I get out of school. I launched some products. Before I really even knew what products were, I sold them on AOL. I sold on AOL, CompuServe, and Prodigy, the kind of stuff we're doing today. But fast forward 2 years later, I burned out in a big way. I went to grad school. I got out, and I got this corporate job in software. And I thought man, I was ready to go. I mean, I knew I was on the right track. Fast forward 2001, I get laid off from my job on my honeymoon via voicemail.
Nice.
So I'm now faced with hatred of like where I worked. I hated even the people I thought were my friends. I hated my company. I hated the fact that I had to be somewhere every day at 8 or 9 o'clock, and I would be a slave, and I'd have to go travel. And I was really stuck in how did I break out of that? How did I break away from the need to have a paycheck, right? How do I go from paycheck to self-employed? And it was hard for me, probably like many others, because it's a major shift in how I looked at myself as a person. How did I judge my own levels of success and fulfillment? And it was a little bit of a journey. It took me a couple of years. I started freelancing right away because I knew I was done. And within a few years, I took my business offline. So I took my internet marketing skills that began in the online world, and I said, you know what, I really like working with local businesses. And in this case, I was working with technology and software companies, maybe some attorneys, and I shifted into that market. And fortunately, it was a success in spite of myself. But my struggle was how to get over my own mental roadblock to doing my own thing and not being tied to a big company and a guaranteed paycheck and 2 weeks vacation and maybe a watch one day. You know, I had to get over that because I spent my whole life going to school, getting to the point where I could get that job.
Sure.
And then I get that job and I'm like, holy cow, this sucks. I'm like, I don't want this ever again. How do I get out? And took a little bit of time, but I got through it. And like Captain Lou said, I've been on the marketing cruise a couple of years. I'm going again. And if anybody here is thinking about it, I highly, highly recommend it. It's the highlight of my internet marketing year. And I bring my wife, and it's a great time. I know, David, you and I were on there last year, and a lot of others. But honestly, I think that most people create their own struggles, and there's not any one right answer. I know I create my own, and I'm my own biggest enemy sometimes. Like Captain Lou talked about needing to get away, or Alex needed to go into a room and just work. And it's easy. I mean, I have an office 2 miles from my house, heck with an hour, but I have 4 kids. So for me, when I want to get work done, I need to come to the office, and I need to just shut the door, turn the AC down, no music, no nothing, and I just work at the computer. So that's my biggest hurdle that I had to get over, was breaking away from the whole corporate America deal and doing my own thing. And there's no one right answer. I'd love to share it. It's a journey, not a single answer, I think. But that's mine.
So tell people quickly what you do now online, and a little bit about what you're going to be speaking about at NAMS, if they don't know.
I have 2 businesses. So I've got a digital agency here in Atlanta. We have an office in Atlanta and in Fort Lauderdale. We service digital marketing, a lot of the stuff you guys would know, but aimed at the automotive industry. So we sell these services between $5,000 and $20,000 a month to car dealers. Couldn't think of a nicer group of guys to charge a lot of money to. But we do internet marketing for car dealers. Then in 2009, I got the bug again. I said, man, I wanna get involved, and I had done a little bit in some of the online communities, and I released an info product. And anyway, so I ended up building like a 7-figure internet marketing business that supplemented my digital agency. And I primarily work with consultants and those that have internet marketing skills and want to leverage those skills to sell to businesses, whether they're local, whether they're national firms. And instead of making, $3, commission or a couple bucks for a click, I show you how to make thousands. And I've got a whole system to build a 6-figure business in 30 days using the internet marketing skills you have now, but shifting them away from pure online to a hybrid online-offline. So I'm going to talk about that, and I'll give you a very easy-to-follow roadmap for anybody who ever said, maybe I want to do that. I'll show you a way to do it without the pains of clients and leaving you in control while you build that business. And I'm looking forward to it, and I think I'm speaking on Friday at the event. I'm excited to hang out.
Okay, good. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. All right, so Jeff Herring, you're up. You told us the other day what you were stuck with. Is that a San Francisco or a San Diego hat? Oh, no, sorry, Florida.
You must be very confused.
That's Florida State.
Oh, my Alabama friend. Florida State University.
I try to block it out of my mind. Sorry.
Thank you, Brian. sometimes confused as Free Seafood University.
or free shoes if you're old enough, right?
That's right. You remember that, Brian? Okay.
I'm class of '93.
80s, man.
All right, so Jeff, stuck.
Associated with FSU.
Sorry?
Brian, how are you associated with FSU?
I'm a FSU undergrad class of '93.
Did not know that. We're an excellent company here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jeff,
No,
have you ever been stuck?
right out at me.
So very honored to follow a fellow here.
Okay, so we're stuck, Jeff. We're stuck. Move on. You're stuck.
All right. So what I do when I'm not rooting for FSU is I help entrepreneurs and experts unleash and cash in on their content. And as far as stuck is concerned, it's not a question of when you get stuck. It's a question of, or if you get stuck, is what do you do when you get stuck? And for me, there's two levels. There's a level where I will call up a colleague, or I'll just take some kind of action, do something. And the something really doesn't matter. It might be creating an email or creating a video, just doing something instead of staying frozen. When I get really stuck, that's when I take one of my drives or walks. And a drive is, somewhere like hundreds of miles in the car, no one can get to you, and you're just thinking and just letting the ideas come. And lots of good stuff has come that way. The other way is walks, going up to the mountains and taking a long walk. So taking some kind of action, some kind of movement is what gets me unstuck, and that's what I recommend for other folks.
And your website and your business is?
You can check out jeffherring.com, jeffherring.com, and if you want to start creating content, go to contentcreationtemplate.com.
Okay, that's what you do, is help people create content, right?
That's right. And root for FSU.
And what you've been teaching at NAMS for, this will be number 12. You are the only instructor who's been there every time.
That's right. And I still remember walking with you in the hallway on that first day of NAMS1 and looking at you and saying, buddy, you're going to need a bigger boat.
That's it. And we have a bigger boat. We definitely have a bigger boat. We bail a lot, but we got a bigger boat. All right, so that's the first round of questioning. Now, we are 30 minutes into this, so we've gotten our introductions and everything built into that. We're going to go a little quicker. We have some questions from folks, and I want to hit a couple of those. If I can just get back to them. First, Patty said, Brian, that the marketing world is much better since you got fired. So there's a little compliment for you, Brian.
That's got to be Patty in Chicago, my favorite Patty.
And let's see. The only thing I don't like about Webinar Jam is it's hard to sort through the questions because they keep flipping around as people ask more and get through. Okay, so you guys go on. Let's talk about your biggest problem. So I'm going to start back at the left with you, Brian. What's your biggest problem? And we're going to keep these brief because we've only got 30 minutes left, and we want to get some questions from the inside as well. So what's your biggest problem of doing business online, and how have you overcome that problem?
My biggest problem is probably similar to most people, the SOB thing, right? The whole focus. Now, I don't actually buy any products ever. I committed that to myself a while back. I broke that rule once in the last 3 years, so and it was a good one too, so I felt good about it. But it's focus. It's all about, putting myself to the task at hand, whether it's creating an information product, whether it's building a webinar training, no matter what it is, to stop that interrupt-driven life that we all have, the whole Facebook, text, Skype, everything. Put all that aside. Drill down and create that content, that message, the video, whatever it is. And my challenge is disconnecting to the point that I give myself that time to do it. And for instance, I've recently given up Skype, and a lot of you are thinking, God, why would you give up Skype? And I just decided that I couldn't deal with that anymore. It was so fast, so often that it was stopping me from being successful. And it went from being a useful tool to something that inhibited my success. So I dropped Skype. I'm also very, very efficient on how I use Facebook. I'm not on there all day, every day. It may look like it sometimes, but I'm really not. And I try to be very focused. I want to spend most of my time with my Wi-Fi off, building and creating. So when I turn the Wi-Fi back on, I actually have something positive and I move my own personal bar forward. So that's my biggest challenge is simply staying focused in such a busy, non-stop kind of life where, with different time zones, you go online at 1 in the morning and people start messaging you and you're like, I got to go to bed. I got to get up at 7, whatever it is. And the only way to overcome it is to be very, very disciplined and be focused. And when you find yourself failing at that, turn your Wi-Fi off. It's the only way that I've ever been able to make it happen. So that's probably my challenge, David.
Okay, it's a good one. Thanks. Focus comes up a lot in these conversations. Ellen, you're up.
Yeah, David, my biggest problem was that I was a generalist rather than being a specialist. And I've decided to solve that not by giving that up. I'm a very multidisciplinary type of person. My mama says I have more degrees than a thermometer. And I like to read widely, and I know a lot of stuff. And so when I recreated my Pink Coattails brand, I found that I'm able to branch out and co-create things with other folks and still be a generalist. And I just realized that I had to embrace that because that's who I am. So, and that's the way I solved it, by rebranding myself and being able to branch out underneath that brand, and so my brand is what's consistent.
So it sounds to me, Ellen, like you solved your problem by embracing it and reframing it.
That's correct. I tried to give it up, but it didn't work.
That's really interesting, because most people would see a problem as something I have to completely defeat, and you just actually put your arms around it and said, let's figure out how to make this work.
Well, that's only because I tried to defeat it first and it didn't work, so I had to come up with something else.
Okay, good. Great answer. Felicia, you're up. Biggest problem?
Biggest problem for me is the technology. I'm not a button pushy kind of person. That's just not my thing. I love people. I love connecting. I love relationships. I love being on stage. So I hang out a lot on social media because it's fun there. That's where I get to be with folks. And so for me, a really big hurdle has been technology. So I've handled it 2 ways. Number one is I hire people to do stuff, because God knows if I had to do it on my own, forget it, would never happen. So because that's not my skill set, that's not my aptitude. So I actually, since the very beginning of my business, I knew there'd be no way. I started in 2006 online, and at that time, I didn't even know how a file would get from my computer to the internet for the world to see. I had no idea. And so I had to hire people to make that happen, which actually has been a blessing in my favor, because guess what? Obviously now as things are a lot easier with WordPress. I mean, I do things all the time. I put up you learn the things you need to learn as you do it. And that's been, what I've been able to do. So number one, hire people. I guess 1B to that would be you learn what you need to learn as you're doing it, because if somebody's, the person you pay is not available that day and you want to get something up today, it's kind of like, all right, let's go figure out how to do that. So I go to YouTube and I search YouTube and I type in very specific term, how to put a video on WordPress website 2014. So that way I'm not getting how to do it in 2007 or 2008 when WordPress was new, right? So I'm getting today's. And then I just stop the video every time and go, okay, stop. Let me go to my site and do that. And then go back, okay, play. Okay, go back and do it again. So there's that. And then the second thing is actually this year is my year of collaboration. And I have been collaborating with people who just totally geek out on the stuff that I can't stand. And it's worked out fantastic. So both hiring people and collaborating with people. And many of those collaborators, actually, I think every single one of those collaborators that I've worked with this year, and there have been many, but one have been NAMSters. And I think one of them may be coming this year. So, I've met a lot of great folks through NAMS and get to be working with them. It's fantastic.
So that's a recurring thing, too. We hear that all the time, that people are actually build partnerships and create a community, and that community really congeals at NAMS. I mean, it really becomes something that is very solid there. So that's great. Thank you. One thing I wanted to say about what Felicia was talking about there, about learning what you need to know. Gary and I, who's up next, Gary and I both were in the corporate world. He still is doing some stuff in the corporate world, and I was in the corporate world for a long time, and we kind of did the same thing, program management. And I was not technical on these big projects, but I didn't know I didn't know what the guys were doing in India or wherever we were managing this stuff and how they were doing it. But I had a little trick, and my little trick was whenever something was broken, I always said, did you check the database threads? Now, I didn't have a clue what they were checking with database threads, but it made them think that I might know something. And so the BS meter was on. And that's one of the things with technology that I always found out was if they think you don't know anything about technology, they'll try to hoodwink you. So you got to be really careful about knowing just enough so that you can actually call people on their stuff. So Gary, your biggest problem in doing business?
Well, one of the biggest problems, and you alluded to exactly where I was going to go, is I had a perceived problem up until this last year or so where I kept trying to balance between my corporate job, business, outside of that corporation. And I've been gainfully employed for over 30 years with the same company and continue to be employed with them while I build out separate businesses and helping to keep those kind of that Chinese wall between the two of them was something where I created it as a problem. I created this problem in my mind that they had to be very separate and never touch and very, very distinct until this last year, and actually a great conversation with one of the instructors coming up in NAMS12, Therese Sparby, and she just asked some simple questions like, why? Why do you feel there has to be this difference? And that's when the light bulb went on that I created this problem.
Yeah.
And it's really not. I have all the approvals through my corporation that allow me to do the things I do outside of my regular day job. And I become a better employee for them because of what I do outside. And everybody's benefiting from it. And as soon as I got past that challenge that I had created in my mind myself, this year has been amazing, and that's all it took was some of those simple questions.
Excellent. Excellent. Good for you. Jeff, you're up. Biggest problem?
Well, I think back to when I first started out, when I was transitioning from being a therapist in private practice to going online, and my thought was, okay, in my practice, I worked with couples, I worked with teenagers and their families, I worked with people dealing with stress, motivation, and change. I'll have a website for every one of those, and I'll have all these multiple streams of income. Well, what I ended up with was multiple fatigue and multiple frustration, okay? Which is why I'm so big on folks picking a niche and going an inch wide and a mile deep, okay? And so, it's a challenge of focus and focusing on the things that generate revenue for you. Like one of the things I tell folks all the time, you mentioned it earlier, David, folks, don't check your email first thing in the morning, okay? That's silly. You're starting your day based on someone else's agenda.
Right.
So, start your day with doing what I call a DRG, or a daily revenue generating ritual. And the flip side of that focus is that you get so close to things that you don't see a lot of things, see some things. There's things you can't see. And so that's the importance of having colleagues like this, of being in a mastermind, of having a coach that can see the things that you can't see.
Excellent. Good, thank you. Kristen, you're up.
All right, we're skipping Lou.
No, Lou's coming next.
Oh, okay, he's on my screen. Hey, Lou. So my biggest problem recently has been knowing my limits. My husband was laid off from his job a year and a half ago, and I said, hey, do you want to come work for us? And he said, sure. So he's been working full-time for a year and a half. We had the most amazing year we've ever had last year. I graduated from one coach to another, both NAMSters, longtime NAMSters. In fact, Bob, the teachers who got me into NAMS, so got me interested in it. And I met Felicia through, all of that too. So, but knowing my limits, I wrote and published 18 Kindle books in 18 weeks last fall. As most of you remember, I was completely psychotic. And then I decided halfway through that, I think I want to start karate. And I started training 4 nights a week and on weekends. And I did everything the karate school handed to me, in addition to this huge task on my plate, in addition to running our business at our busiest time this season, and only had one VA at the time helping me out with some of the product stuff. So I seriously don't know what my limits are. I've been chronically ill my entire life until about the past 2 years. So I don't know when to hit the off button. And even recently, I have been, I get better and I'll get all excited and I'll feel good, and then I'll get burned out again. And I feel like I'm getting burned out every week. And so that's been my biggest problem up until literally last week, one of my Facebook friends said, "You do 95% more than everyone else I know in one given day." And I'm going, really? Because I don't feel like I'm doing anything.
Uh-huh.
I wish I had a V8 moment. And finally, what I did to really, in the past few weeks, that's been working very well to confront this issue is I'm paying attention to my body, and it's saying when to rest and when to work. Sometimes that's 2 in the morning is work, and 2 in the afternoon means rest. And I'm okay with that because that's why I'm an entrepreneur in the first place, right? To set my own schedule. Also, prioritizing has become key. Prioritizing what I want long term, which meant I had to face a huge fear of mine, which is planning. I hate to plan. I jump in with both feet and just go do. My husband will plan and never do. So we make a great team, but in this instance, I need to learn how to plan. So I actually have sat down and developed a 2-year goal plan that's huge that I've already started to implement and put into place, which includes hiring more people, outsourcing more so that we can grow the company. Because if I don't take the risk and hire someone to take some of the stuff off my plate, I can't spend more of my time doing what I love, which is creating the products like Brian loves to do. Like, I would love to just do that all day and write. So prioritizing everything, giving myself permission to rest in the midst of that, and not beating myself up if I don't get that one thing done when I really wanted to.
Okay, I knew prioritizing was coming in there as a solution when you started talking, so I'm really glad you've gotten to that one. That's great, so thanks. Lou, you can peel off just a little bit off of the corner.
Ouch, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah, just slowly. There you go. Okay, good. Now, you can tell us what's your biggest problem, how you overcame it.
Well, first of all, Kristen, I love the throw pillows and the stuffed animals there on your couch. Very, very colorful. I used to be a decorator. Okay, I think that way back when and even today, my biggest problem, folks, is that I was born the wrong sex.
Put the tape back on, dude.
Oh my gosh, you never know what you're going to get with Drew.
I think I should have been born a woman because you women are better at multitasking. And now, how many here are starters and how many are finishers? How many of you get started on projects like right now I'm in the middle of that book, my next book that I'm stuck, and I'm preparing a boot camp, and I'm developing software for the travel industry while administering over 1,200 clients on these multiple special event group cruises. Now, I do have a staff. I have a small staff of 2 and sometimes 3 people here at the office, and 1 or 2 outsourcers, but still, I find myself not managing my time well enough, working way too late, not taking care of my health, like Kristen was mentioning. I mean, we're supposed to be living this internet lifestyle that affords us all of this great opportunity and world travel. But my biggest problem to this day is I'm not a good multitasker. And the bright, shiny objects, who was talking about that?
Gary.
Being right, Gary. So I'm not distracted by internet marketing opportunities. I stay focused on my business, so I'm taking a lot of massive action. But when I'm doing 2, 3, 4, 5 different projects at the same time, even with mind maps and project management software, which is another time suck because you got to learn how to use all of that stuff, I find that it's a tremendous challenge for me to stay on the timeline and complete multiple projects. And it's very, very stressful. So I'm profitable. I'm very, very blessed that it seems that everything that I touch turns into money, which, for someone that grew up very, very poor on welfare and food stamps and then orphaned as a teenager and out on my own, I've come a long way. So knock on wood, I'm very blessed. I should be very grateful. But I'm still to this day having the biggest problem of completing multiple projects. I should have been born a woman.
So your biggest problem you still have. You haven't yet solved that problem, is what you're saying. So that's good.
Right. No, this is an ongoing problem, and it's beyond just monetizing because I told you guys on Tuesday that I had a $45,000 day last Wednesday in Las Vegas, and thank you. That's amazing. And not selling cruises, but selling my own training program to travel agents. So most of that money is mine. And so should I be doing a happy dance and celebrating? Yes. But still, do I have more stress than ever because I keep reaching higher and wanting to do more things? Don't we all have a little bit of that? You have a win, 3 days later, the high has worn off and you're on to the next thing, and now you're killing yourself. David, I know you do this. I know you do this because I see you've got 10 fingers in 10 different pies. Am I right?
I do, and I'll tell you, it can be a real slippery slope. One of the things that I have going for me, and it's the same thing Gary has going for him, is that I was a project manager in the corporate world, and I understand that you can have multiple projects running at the same time, but you got to have multiple people pushing those projects forward. You can't really, I can't do more than one thing at a time. It doesn't work. I can't write, I can't do graphics, I can't do this, I can't do that. All of those things I can do well, but I can't do them all at the same time. So it becomes a real issue, and it really is relying on the right team. So it's a great topic. We got 15 minutes left, and we're going to talk about secret weapons. So let's see. I'm just going to come back to, who am I going to start with? Lou.
Lou.
We're going to go right back down the lane, and we're going to end up with Brian. Okay, Lou. Secret weapon. What's your biggest secret weapon for success? And we're keeping these brief.
Okay. Well, I started talking about this on Tuesday, and that's for scalability, automation, and really automating as much, getting off the phone and, communicating with my clients and my partners through voicemail, through websites, websites that take credit cards, through as much automation processes as possible, and then systemizing back office admin in my business so that I can get out of the thick of things and scale so that I can handle this much business without collapsing. So that's my biggest secret, has been finding the right automation and setting up systems so that I can scale my business and have the maximum ROI.
Excellent, excellent. That's so important for us. Kristen, you're up. What's your biggest secret weapon?
Well, I have two. One won't surprise you, NAMS. And
Perfect.
That's just, it really is. That's where I find everybody that I work with. And my really even bigger secret weapon that is really more of a secret unless you're one of my clients is play. I'm playing right now with some thinking putty as I'm talking because it helps my brain connect the dots between stuff. I've got stress ninjas on my desk, just to play with. And you guys already see the toys back here. That's my Lego table. So, and there's a thing called sand you can get from Brookstone, and I think Target now has it, kinetic sand. And when I do webinars, I take that sand, which is in that brown thing right there on the Lego table, right there, and put it on my desk and let my left hand work in it while I'm operating the webinar with my right hand. And you would be amazed the answers that come out of my mouth in Q&A calls, just being able to brainstorm the creativity because the right and left brain are working together. So I'm fascinated by this whole brain science, and not going to become a brain surgeon or anything like that, but play has got to be one of my biggest secret weapons.
So if you saw the CBS Sunday Morning News program on last Sunday, they had a program on doodles, and how there has been a study that shows that people who doodle during meetings and corporate meetings and in classes and all that kind of stuff retain 29% more than people who don't. So doodles and the play activity is really something that helps focus your brain and grab what's going on there. So that's great. Jeff, what's your secret weapon?
Regular events.
Okay.
You said keep it short.
Okay, that's short. Did you have one in mind, Jeff?
All right. What I've been doing the whole 7 years I've been full-time online is doing some kind of regular event. Felicia will remember back in the day it was teleseminars. I did regular weekly teleseminars. Now it's webinars. And it does so much for you. It's a consistent stream of income. It consistently gets you out there. And it really builds your tribe. Okay? Think about all the major religions. How often do they meet? once a week, right? Okay, and you know, when you do something, you don't have to do it weekly, but just do it regularly. People come to expect it. People become part of your tribe and become what I love is lifelong customers.
Good, good, excellent. Gary, secret weapon.
Well, let's see. The secret weapon that I have is two things. One is the skill that I built up over the time in my corporate life that I apply to all of my business aspects is my facilitation skills. Being able to bring together a team and understand I don't have all the answers and helping a team get the answers out. And then the second secret weapon I have is I have been an adamant LiveScribe pen user, for a very long time, for over since it first came out. And the reason why I bring it up as a secret weapon is I found out that it was naturally how I take a lot of detailed notes, but because I can record all those notes and record some of the conversations, I let my mind realize that it was going to capture it. And I really don't go back and look at those notes very often because I'm retaining it better because I've allowed my mind now knows it'll remember it. But that's been my secret weapon to help me get past that.
Well, good. Thank you. Now, before we go to the last three folks, which is Felicia, Ellen, and Gary, I'm sorry, Felicia, Ellen, and Brian, I wanted to tell people quickly how they can get to the NAMS workshop. So there are three ways, and I've posted it on the chat here as a sticky post, so it's at the top. There's three ways to come to NAMS workshop with a discount. You can go to nextnams.com right now, and you'll see at nextnams.com that it is $547. So sorry, $497 is what it is right now at nextnams.com.
Getting better.
It's getting better already, huh? That's the reason I said 5 was because that goes up to 5 then on $597 on Monday night. So it's $497 now. If you use the coupon code NAMS Hangout, you're going to get $100 off of that.
Wow.
So that'll drop it right there. That's a good discount to start with right there. There's another way. Go to NAMSinsiders.com and you can join NAMSinsiders.com for $7 trial. That will get you into the NAMS Insiders group, and you'll get the NAMS Insiders rate for the NAMS workshop. That's $197. That's a huge discount, right? You pay $7, you get a huge discount, and you have a monthly recurring fee if you stay in to the NAMS Insiders Club. The third way is a no-brainer to me, and that is that you join the NAMS Insiders Club and pay the annual payment. That's at nams.ws/MNIC, my NAMS Insiders Club, MNIC annual. And you pay the annual fee, $1 a day, $365, and you get a ticket to the NAMS workshop. So you don't pay for the NAMS workshop, you get a ticket. That's good until Monday night as well, midnight, Monday night. So if you want to come to the NAMS workshop, we want you to come. You can get in 3 different ways. It's all about your commitment level, how much you want to be committed and how much you want to be part of this community. So there you go. 3 different ways to get in, and I hope you'll go over and take a look at those. Now, like I said, that's all in what do we call it? What is it? It's the sticky. It's the sticky at the top there. And the sticky post in the top of the chat. You guys can take a look at that, click on any of those links, and join now. Now, Felicia, you're up. What is your secret weapon?
So I think my secret weapon, there's 2 parts. One is I've built my business around my life as opposed to having my business dictate my life. And I started when my kids were 1 and 3 years old. And so I used to work around their schedule. They would take naps, and I would do a little work, and then they would go to bed at night, and then that's when I would work. Now they're both in school. They are 11 going on 27 and 9, and so now they're in school all day. So I flipped my schedule so that it matches their lives because my kids' lives are mine. What are you laughing at? You're laughing at the pictures. So that's one, and then the other thing is, and this is a secret that not a lot of people know, that of course I'm going to say speaking, right? But it's not speaking like for speaking's sake. I feel like I have the paparazzi. It is speaking.
He's up on the picture.
Wait, listen, this is good. When I came to the internet marketing world, I went to one event as an attendee. Every single internet marketing event I've been to after that, I've been a speaker on the stage. When you show up as a speaker on the stage at an event, you get treated differently. The other speakers look at you differently. The other attendees look at you differently. That's a secret that a lot of people won't tell you. And NAMS is one of the very best places where you can get on stage in front of a community of tight-knit people where the instructors all support each other in a way that I have never seen with any other type of event, ongoing event. It's an amazing kind of thing. And David allows you as an attendee to work your way through the system to become an instructor of the NAMS system. So the longer you stay in, the longer you go, the more you'll learn, the more successful you are, the more opportunity you have to speak. And then guess what? People look at you and treat you a little bit differently.
We actually have about a dozen people who have been students first and become instructors later. So that's great. And by the way, I wanted to point this out before we get too far, is that we have 2 people on here who have been to every workshop. Every workshop. Gary Huff, every workshop. Jeff Herring, every workshop. So thank you so much, you guys, for your support. All right. Ellen, secret weapon.
My secret weapon is my southernness. I can't hide it, and so I decided to capitalize on it by bringing my personality into my business. And it's really shown its value in my ability to be very successful at selling high-ticket items over the phone. Because when I get folks on the phone, I can just be real with them. I love to talk to them and get to know them. Sometimes their programs fit for me and sometimes they don't. I'm also extremely flexible about structuring a payment plan to get them into a program that sometimes they thought was out of their reach. So I use my southernness to my advantage. I have a lot of fun doing it. And so I would encourage anybody, even if you're not Southern, you don't have to become Southern and start saying, hey, y'all. But you can bring your own personality into your business, and I would encourage you to do that.
Cool, cool. Okay, Brian, you're up.
All right, I'm waiting for the paparazzi. I see Lou got the camera ready here, so there you go. All right, secret weapon for me, if it wasn't the automation, which I might have said, it was well said, is probably my team. I realized right away that no matter what, I can't do it all. Even if I could do graphics, which I can't, and even if I could do all the various things that some I'm good at and some I'm not, I will never get to the level I wanted to get to being a one-man show. So I have a team of 6 or 7, six and a part-time person right now, and literally right now I have a webinar going on as we speak while I'm doing this Hangout, and I wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't for the team. And I have people that are good at more of the technical issues, some that are good at customer service, and they're all Southern, by the way, too, let me tell you. But I'm here in Atlanta, so most of my team, bar one, is what I would consider Southern. And the team is the key to scale for me. I could probably do a decent amount on my own, but then you hit a point where your lifestyle starts to be affected by the amount of work and the excitement you get into, and you realize that you can't do all this without help. And so we use automation coupled with the team to, I don't know what the right word is, dramatically impact, the amount of money we make. So we're able to grow. I grew like 600% the first year I set up a real team. And all that money was, I like to say it was because I did something right. The best thing I did was hire the right people and build around them. And I think even if you just have a part-time person, 4 hours a week, and they're helping you out, that will allow you to go so much further than you'll ever do on your own. So that's probably my big one is don't be afraid, and also don't be afraid to hire American. I hire mostly single moms. And reason why is the caliber of work and the quality is so high. And I have some good offshore workers just like everybody else, but it's a lot easier for me to communicate with Tammy 45 minutes away, and she knows what I need, and she truly cares about the job and the extra income, and she puts her all into it. Or maybe typically she was in the corporate world, and right now she's kind of a stay-at-home mom, but she wants a way to stay connected. I get so many good people that way, and as a result, they help make me successful. So, and I thank them.
That's good. That's an excellent one. You know, the thing about team is that it is so important. You're right, to make sure that you're moving forward. My business really has taken off since I got a team as well. It's something that has to be managed, though. It's a whole different mindset. So it's really important to keep that in mind as well. So let's see. There was a couple of things that I heard and that I wanted to come back to. Let's see, the thing about facilitation and the skills that Gary was talking about, one of the things that I bring to a workshop is that facilitation because I am adamant about starting on time and ending on time. If we don't run a 5-room, and we have 5 rooms running at the same time, workshops on time, we have the whole thing out of whack. So we try very hard to stay on time and to be on time with all of our sessions so that you know exactly what you can do. You know, we're going to go just a tad over if you guys have like 5 more minutes, because we got a question in here that I really would like for you to address. Somebody said, how can I make enough money to come to the NAMS workshop if I don't have it now? How would you suggest somebody can make enough money to come to the NAMS workshop? So let's say they want to do $365, so they get the ticket for free and come, and they're going to have to pay for the hotel and pay for their food. So they're probably looking at $700-800 total for the weekend. So how would you suggest they make the money fast? And let's start down here with Brian. You got any ideas on that?
Sure. Now I'm going to go to what I'll give you 2 ideas. One, I would look into the community, the ecosystem you're involved with, and maybe just like you do with a cruise or a group event, maybe bring a group with you. Maybe take 5 or 6 people with you. David's very liberal. There's very fair commissions. You can earn your way to NAMS doing that and making it a more fun place and bringing people you want to spend time with. I think that's an absolute easy one for everybody connected on social media. But second, what I would do is, my typical client on the low end, low end maybe $1,000, I would add a new client to my business, and I would do anything from sending emails to set up a phone meeting, or just make 40 phone calls. I'll make 40 calls. I will close at least 1 or 2 people. $1,000 a month, $500 setup fee. I got enough to take everybody to dinner. So that's probably the route I would go, but that fits.
You just say you're taking us all to dinner?
I said everybody on this webinar will go to dinner at the Vortex. So if you're on the webinar and you want to go to the Vortex, it's on me. We'll have to figure out how to all get.
Where's all the pictures? We need to take pictures of that.
You got to be 18 to get in for some reason, but it's a good hamburger place.
It is a good hamburger place. That's actually took my wife there for our first date.
Wow, I love it.
How about that?
My wife has yet to go there with me. I keep telling her it's a great place, and she won't go.
Ellen.
Well, I'm going to speak to the person who might not have a business yet. So I can think of 3 things. In your current job, maybe you can get some extra hours and work overtime to get that money. You might ask a family member to invest in you. Tell them what NAMS can do for you and ask them to invest in you. Maybe that might be a spouse or a parent, a sister or brother or someone, or a good friend. Another thing would be to sell some of the stuff you have that is hanging around in your garage and you don't need. I mean, with the online platforms like eBay and stuff like that, that's really easy to do. So between selling stuff, asking a family member to invest in you, and maybe working extra hours, I don't see why anybody couldn't come.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Thank you. And I'm just going to say quickly here that my wife and I went to Africa on a safari for 3 weeks in 2003. I sold everything in our shed for 2 months that we had stored, never used. Put it on eBay, put it into a PayPal debit card. Took that debit card with me and came back with $2,000 still in the debit card after doing that. And it was exactly what you said, Ellen. Just find out what you. I mean, if you want to do something, you find out how to do it. So that was it. Felicia, you're up.
Here's one that maybe not a lot of folks have said. Even if you don't have a business yet, even if you...
Uh-oh, we lost you, Felicia.
You don't have any online community.
You
did?
No, you're back. You're back.
Okay, I'm back. So even if you don't have a community yet, even if you don't have a business yet, even if you don't have a list yet, you can still get a sponsor to go to the event. And it would be someone who wants to be in front of the folks who are at NAMS. And really easy way to do that is you get a business card and you offer the sponsor, say, listen, when I give out my business card to the hundreds of people that will be at NAMS, I'll put my name on the front and we'll put your name and business on the back. And then you'll be in front of those folks that are going to be attendees at NAMS. That sponsorship, it's like an implied endorsement of you to those other folks that you're meeting that says, hey, I know this business, they're good business. I would make it a business that does stuff online. So obviously, because a lot of NAMS people are from all over the world, actually, coast to coast and around the world. So someone who, a company that has a business online that they'd like to get in front of folks, do that. David's got sponsors at NAMS. There's no reason that attendees can't be sponsored either. Even though you're not speaking or anything, you can still, in conversation, it can still come up and a sponsor would be willing to pay for that.
Okay. Gary?
So I think the key with affording to get to NAMS is having a credit card. And so charge it and make the money at NAMS. Because what happens at NAMS, and many people have done this, is they have made money at NAMS to cover their whole trip.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm a conservative guy. I would like to have the dollars in my hand, and I will work overtime. I will sell some things on eBay, and still do not let that stop you from coming to NAMS or taking the next step on whatever your adventures are, because you're going to charge it and you're going to make the money at NAMS. What's the thought process if you're going to show up on the first day of NAMS, and at the end of NAMS you need to have made enough money to pay for your whole trip, as compared to somebody that's going to sit in events and sit in workshops? Put it to action on the very first day, knowing you've got to pay for your trip, and you're going to get tons more out of NAMS than you would have.
Okay, so I have to comment about that too, because at the last workshop we actually had Kathleen Gage on Thursday in a mastermind session we were doing, challenged a room of about 50 people, and she said, I would buy notes from somebody if they put together a report from this weekend of the notes that they took of all the sessions at NAMS. And one person out of that room took her up on that and said she would do it. That person had a goal of making $200 that weekend. That's all she wanted to make, was $200 that weekend. And this was people walking around handing her $20 to buy the notes when they were done. By the time the event was over, she'd made $750 by Sunday night. So, there are people who take action can do exactly what Gary was talking about. Come to NAMS and you can make it there. Jeff?
I'm really so glad to be part of this group for many reasons. One, there are so many smart people in here with all these ideas. And I'm going to sum up the three I heard. What Gary said, if you don't have a community or a list or a business, put on your credit card and then come earn it back at NAMS. It'll be more than worth it. Even if you don't earn a dime at NAMS, it's going to be more than worth it from what you learned, the community you're a part of, and the people you connect with. Now, the other way to do it, playing off of what Ellen was saying, find a sponsor. Find somebody that you know well.
That was Felicia.
Sponsor you for NAMS.
Whoever, whatever.
Tell them this, okay? That not only will you pay them back, that you're starting an online business, and you're going to give them 20% of everything you make for the first year. Okay? So they're not only going to get their money back, they're going to make money on it. Okay? If you have a community, if you have a list of people you can mail, bring some people. Affiliate for NAMS so you can come to NAMS, and then do something special for those people that come through your link. Do a private breakout for them, a closed door mastermind, Q&A, whatever. So there's three ways you can do it. Whatever you got to do, get here.
That's good. That's good. And it was Felicia talking about sponsorship, but Jeff, you were talking about an investor. That's what an investor would do. So that's really a great idea.
And that's what Ellen was talking about, was investor.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Kristen.
And I said it all while petting a dog right here at my feet.
So what I've noticed, and this is coming from someone who had zero income for 9 months and lived off of like less than a part-time income for an entire year and a half. So I understand being strapped for cash. I also understand that a lot of people don't even have a budget. And that's a really bad B word that people shy away from. And the fact is, I actually had some people posting on Facebook asking for help to pay their electric bill. And I looked at their previous posts, and they were eating out at major restaurants at $40 a plate. Or, well, for each of them, because they each would get 2 entrees and saying, I got this and this, and posting pictures of their food. And I've been to those places. And I'm like, okay, you ate out 5 times this week, and that cost you $500, and you're asking for help with your electric bill? Let's prioritize people. So I do understand being strapped for cash because I've been there myself. I also understand when I want something bad enough, I do whatever it takes to do it, to get there. So you might have to do something that's uncomfortable. You might have to use a credit card. That's uncomfortable for me. You might have to get on the phone and call some people and say, hey, I have a brand new coaching program. You mentioned that you wanted to work with me if I ever had anything. How does this sound? How does it sound that $200 a month for 3 months and we just nail down your problem? That the fastest path to cash is giving someone your time and turning it into dollars, and then when you're at NAMS, you'll learn how to make money without giving away your time.
Excellent, good topic.
Good answer.
Good answer, yeah, good answer. And Patty says, no one ever says this, but don't forget, it can be tax deductible if you actually have a business. So I'm not an accountant, neither is she. And Lou, I see the tape's on
TV.
Well, you know, I've said this before. It's most important to invest in yourself. It will come back to you tenfold. But even if you don't have a credit limit that you don't feel comfortable about putting something like $500 or $800 or $1,000 on your credit card, I think one of the fastest ways to get people to sponsor and fund you is there is a website. If you have, everyone has Facebook friends and Twitter friends, and so there's a website called GoFundMe.com. GoFundMe.com. Someone else actually did this last week at a photographer in the industry that wanted to be sent to a different event. It was a landmark event, and she needed $1,250, and she just put up a campaign on GoFundMe.com and made a video and told about, you know, her passion and how she wanted to take her life and her business to the next level. And she just said, hey guys, if you feel that this is, I'm just asking you to send me to this event. It's going to cost me about $1,250. And she got donations from everyone. I sent her $50. And I think that it's in just a few days she was able to raise the $1,250. And she promised that she will do something special for each and every one to just, you know, have faith in her. And I believe that it will, you know, if you do that, if you help someone else out who's in a bind, it will come back to you tenfold. So that's my suggestion. Just GoFundMe.com for a little social media campaign to get some sponsors.
Yeah, that's a great one too. Thanks. These are all real good tips. You know, and there's one more that I want to tell you about too, and these are actual things that people have done. We have a NAMSter who has been to a ton of the workshops, and about 2 or 3 sessions ago, she didn't have the money. Her husband had gotten laid off. She didn't have the money to come to the workshop, and she decided she really wanted to come, and she knew how much money she needed. So she put together a report, and it was not just a report, but it was actually kind of a PLR type thing that people could use. It had value that they could use in their business as well. And she decided she wanted to raise that amount of money. She went to some of the NAMS instructors that she had met at previous events and said, I put this together. Do you think this is worthwhile? And if you do, would you mind mailing out to your list? About half a dozen NAMS instructors mailed out to their list, and she had $6,000 before she came to the workshop. So she not only funded...
Was that enough?
That was enough. That was enough.
Oh, okay.
Not only funded her workshop ticket, but she also funded, you know, her next couple of months. So it can be done, and you learn how to do this stuff at the workshop. You learn how to take action, and you learn how to think out of the box. One of the things I love about online business is that I never have to really be in a bad spot again, because I've got enough friends here and enough people that know how to do things that if my business collapsed tomorrow, I can. And it did, by the way, a year ago when we got hacked really bad. It did collapse for about 6 to 8 weeks, and we went out and rebuilt with all of the friends and relationships that we built through the NAMS workshop. So I hope you come. I hope you'll check out the 3 ways that we have here to come. If you come to the replay page to watch these, you'll notice on the replay page that 30 minutes, sometimes 15, sometimes 30, during the video replays, you're going to see a pop-down box that gives you all 3 of these options. And they will show up automatically between 15 and 30 minutes. And I hope you take advantage of that. The other thing is this replay page and these replays go away Monday night at midnight. So you want to make sure you watch all the replays. And bless you all for being here. I really appreciate that. Thanks so much.
Thanks, fun. Thanks, David.
Thanks, David. Great job.
Bye-bye.
See you in August, everybody.
See everyone at NAMS.
Yay!
Yay.